How to Draw Cartoons with John-Marc.
All right, let's begin this little fun little cartoon snowman. So what I'm going to do first is the basic shape you're going to see, the oval and the oval and the circle, of course. But feel free to use your imagination and experiment with your style with it. Once again, this is going to be happening every day this month. So another snowman will be coming tomorrow and so forth, but a little different and just playing around with the design as well as what they're wearing or their personality, the height, the shape. So this lesson is just going to be really fun to play with and just experimenting with one content, which is a snowman, and seeing how many different ways we could actually build them. So once again, simple structure, what you can see here with the little crosshair that makes me understand where I'm going to have the eyes and nose and the mouth and the eyebrows all fall into place there. And if the snowman had ears, but I'm going to make them little muffins. I'm going to have them on the side here. So that's where if you had ears, you could put fake ears on him as well. Being creative, but I'm not going to give you too much creativity because I'm going to spoil some of the future lessons on this little series that I'm working on. So what I really want you to take home with this lesson throughout all the snowmen I'm working on right now. I'm trying to think, okay, what am I doing right now? Okay, at the top there. So what I'm going to be doing is practicing with just these easy shapes. And how can that actually help you from this lesson is like when you're working and creating characters, if it's a bird, if it's a some type of an animal or a human, okay, body form. So you can see the different shapes and sizes that you can create from a snowman. That's like a very simple palette in the very beginning, and you can totally change the legs, the height of the belly of the snowman, make it skinnier, make it fatter. Feel free to explore all these different possibilities when you are designing a character. So here's a great example. So when I have to be in charge of creating a new character and a client comes to me, or if it's just for myself, I might sketch out a couple different varieties of the content. In this case, the snowman, and see which one some of my friends and family and people like. So I share them and say, which one do you appeals to you? And so that's where the basic lesson from all these little snowman will be for the whole month of January coming out. And a lot more. Again, I want you to practice on a daily basis of sketching. So here, getting you on a constant starting the new year, 2025 we're in. And what better way is to get your sharpening skills on drawing more. And as you can see, I'm just very simply working on the light form, like my step one. And I'm just giving some basic shadowing here and there, and a little bit heavier on the button there, and a little bit more there. And just remember, the other surprise is when the entire month is complete, all these little snowmen, and I'll have them all colored in at the very end, so you can see how they all line up together, day one all the way to the very end. All right, I'm just get some little threads, and instead of making them stone, I thought I'd make them actually buttons. All right, just giving a little shading there for his arm on the side there. You know what? Let's add some backgrounds. What better thing to do outside? As something that I love is pine trees, and when they're covered with snow. So let's just do some very simple, basic shapes. All right, as you can see here, it's just really draping down, just following it like little drops going down. If this was like melting candles, but it's very, very simple. Feel free to explore again. So since I'm making my little snowman outside, you might want to bring him inside, or you might change the topography, meaning a landscape and the shape, but I like my little pine trees. Now you may want to add some bird nests or a bird in there, or an owl, or a polar bear in the distance. Oops, I think I'm giving you too much suggestions right now. I don't want to ruin all the other ones that I have planned out for this rest of this month. So here's another thing. When you're working on backgrounds or creating a composition, you see the first tree that I created that's nice in the foreground, that I have one in the background. You just see part of it, and this third one right now just off to the side again. So always keeping them in the same size and shape you want to break that pattern, be a little bit more creative, and just balance it out a little bit more. I could have had all three on the far right. I like that, but I'm just saying, you know what? Let's get a different one. A little how it's working in the far left. So if it was a really close to the edge of a forest, and I'm just going to make skinny trees. And you can make really short, fat ones too, where branches are showing through, like are broken down. All right, a little more branches in the front. Let's just like on the side, a little overlapping. I'll shade that one in. All right. All right. Yeah, so I'm just going to get these little curved lines here. This is just a mental note for myself. So on the branches, the tree is going to be all green and just little snow on the tips when I color this one in. So I can kind of see in my head, or if you can actually have it reversed, where everything's white on the tree is actually snow, and where I shade it could actually be just the green melting away from all that snow. You get to look at it both ways. All right. I like that. Looking good. Simple. You have that one structure. You have the three on the far right. You have the one big one on the left. All right. I like that. Okay. So let me just see. What else can I do? What else? Yeah, let me make it a little bit darker here. No, let's add another one over on the side here. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So a little different angle again, giving some more depth on there behind each other, peeking through on the other side. And that's going to be, I'm just going to shade that one in here too, indicating that it's behind that one a little darker. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Let's just still clean it up a little bit right now. Get a little bit darker stroke on there. A little bit more contrast, more on the snowman versus the tree right now. This is just a visual right now. I'm just following the same outlines. I'm just pushing down on the pencil. My pencil lead, my mechanical, is about a B, wait, it's not an HB. It's a little softer, and I like that because it doesn't gives me more freedom. So when I sketch, it's not as firm. It's really pliable that I can smudge it from here to here. Okay, let's get the top part there. That looking good. All right, there. Yeah, let's get his nose a little bit darker. And there we go. That little highlight there. That looks good. Yeah. So right now, let's sign in date. Hope you enjoy our first lesson on that cute little cartoon snowman. And don't forget, tomorrow, snowman number 2 will be coming. As always, thanks for watching this lesson and have a great day.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And now back to our show.
All right, here is day 2 for the cute little cartoon snowman, and I'll begin with a simple sketch. All these snowmen will be really quick thumbnails, and once again, at the end of this entire month, I will be putting them all together, cleaned up, and colored. So feel free to use your imagination and creativity, as I always share, and explore your style at the same time. But I thought this would be a fun lesson to do for the entire month. So what I'm going to be doing here right now is just creativity by putting some mittens on him. I thought that'd be a kind of a fun little thing to do. And what else? Well, you're just going to have to wait to see, because when I am drawing it, this is live right now. So you don't know exactly what you're going to get just yet. So you know what? Let's make these little buttons this time. Of course, you can make them like cookies, coals, or quarters, or uh, pennies on there. You can change it into any type of object for his little buttons there. For his nose, I'm going to make them all nice and big. I'm thinking I color them like reds and blues. As you can see here, the crosshair is very helpful to put that right to know where the mouth, nose, and eyes, of course, are little snowmen. They don't got ears, but they do have big heads that you can put fun hats on, like this one. I'm going to get a big hat on him. There you go. Like a little embroidery, or like a little elf hat, should I say, hanging down there. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. I like that. You can put stripes on there. You can have texture on there. Little embroidered little, if it's like a smiley face on there. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I can put that on there later, actually. And a little pom-pom at the end. All right. As you can see, as when I'm working on this series, I'm going to go very light and quick, and I'm just going to be laying out all this stuff, and then I'll follow back up and give a little bit more detail. But again, I'll follow them up later on and tighten them up a lot more so I can color. And I will leave the pencil effect. I'm not going to use a pen and ink on this one, on these, should I say, for the whole month. I like that sketchiness that I have. So, all right, here's some little branches with a little leaf. Well, not the leaf, should I say, the pine needles. And I'm just randomly creating them in different shapes and sizes to give that little overall composition and the feel. And as you can see, sometimes it'll be a little bit closer as I go further down. I catch random. Don't want to make the left side the same as the right always. Show some discrepancy, which actually is normal. In my opinion, that's just my style. Again, as you can see the tree in the back here, I have that getting cropped out with his hat and his body. That's a good thing. So you don't have to have everything always visible. Cropping out stuff is good. Like this one here, I'm going to make it like a dead branch on top of the pine tree. So everything down here is live. And on top, right there, that's the live, the dead branch right there, and everything below. Yeah. Simple, simple. All right, so now I feel pretty comfortable, so I'm going to go a little bit heavier with my strokes and the lines, getting more detail in there. Not so much detail, but just a little bit more emphasizing on the strokes right now. There's eyebrows right there. Cute. Feel free to use really fun expressions that you can like. And again, what I like to do at some times when we were taught in our animation studio from a former Disney animator, that actually worked with Walt Disney, we actually had mirrors in our animation table that we can actually make facial expressions and kind of see how they change our nose, our lips, our eyes, our eyebrows. Back in my time, we didn't have digital phones, so it was a little bit hard. We had Polaroids, but that one itself was a little troublesome, should I say. You have to buy the film. So we just used a mirror, and it was much easier to play up with it. Here's, if these were like little buttons, or they could be pops, soda pop top of cans, even like that. That'd be kind of fun if you do like a logo on top. Yeah, I like that. All right, so let's get the little mittens on there. All right, so it's just on his hand. There's like his little hand there. There you go. Let's get the other one, his other arm here too. Now I like that. Yeah. So what I'm thinking about when coloring, I'm going to have nice, vibrant colors, and maybe even do some embroidered uh, textures in the mittens and the hats. I'm thinking about just thinking, not so sure. I'm just shading that little bit in there, and let's get that tree again and show where the snow might be popping through or the pine needles popping through again. All right, just laying it out. Anything else? So as I'm working, I'm also thinking, I'm trying to think, okay, how would the colors feel? I do like that when it's mostly white and having the little tips being green, but again, you can invert that and have the tree mostly green and just the tips being with the snow on there, depending on that feel. All right, this one's like leaning over a lot. All right, get that over a little bit here, get the insides. So when I come, when I'm using my imagination, is sometimes it represents of past projects and some things that I've worked on. So it's like when, as an artist, your creativity, you kind of remember certain things. I used to draw a lot of pine trees and simple backgrounds. But again, if I want to try to change the whole feel and maybe do some research again. I might pull out a little book or go on the internet, type in woods backgrounds and get the feel of winter time, and then just look at some of those visualizations and sketch out from those illustrations, or should I say not illustrate those photos, to give you some more ideas. So that does help. So not everything you can pull out of your head perfect. Sometimes you're going to need to get some reference. And in this case, I'm just making it very simple with the tree right now, the hat, with the little pom-poms on at the end. Nice and simple. Okay, really, really not perfect circle. It's just kind of abstract feel to it. And I'm just going to give some shading throughout the area so it kind of blends in like the hat, little lines, if it was a pattern on the hat. So that could be like two colors, and there's a hat over here. Oh, let me do the face on here. A little, like a little embroidered happy face on there. Or it could be another snowman, little face on the hat. You could do a reindeer if you want to, or a big snowflake, either way. And the tree over here, I'm just going to shade that one in the back a little bit more, since that in the back likewise. In the back, show the valley hill. Yep. Yeah, I'm just going to feel pretty good with that. Another one in the back just to give some more depth. All right. What else? What else can we do? Little snow mounds here and there. Kind of just give some illusion so it's not totally flat. All right, I think I am just about done. As always, let's sign, date, share with your family and friends. Thanks for watching this lesson, and have a great day.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And now back to our show.
All right, let's begin the lesson today. This is day 3 of the series on how to draw cute little cartoon snowman. Now, what do you think I'm going to be working on? The pose or being adding to this little character? So the first two that you saw, I pretty much had something similar, the backgrounds and the hands. So I may be a little the same, but I think what would be different question is maybe something on the face, or is it in the background? Let's see. So as you can see here, I'm just basically doing the same type of structure with the eyes and the nose, but I'm changing the shapes a little bit. So the heads are a little bit more of an oval, and this little snowman, he's going to be wearing little glasses. That's right. He's going to be a little really smart little snowman, and he's going to be just having a little earmuffs on, and then just enjoying the weather outside. Little scarf on there as well. And here we go, putting the little top of the little earmuffs on there. Feel free to explore your creativity and your style as well, and change it up by all means. The purpose behind all this, the series that I'm working on right now, is to share with you the daily process of being creative but sketching on a daily basis, which will make you be a sharper artist. And there's those little notes. Let me take some time to round and round we go. There we go. And I'm just going to have a little highlight. So as I was saying before, the more you practice, the better you will become as an artist. And what better way to start your 2025 year off on something that you're enjoying? I'm just making the glass a little bit thicker now. There we go. Let's get the other one. Here we go, the inline. There we go. All right. So when you're practicing sketching, and like what I'm doing right now, if you've seen some of my previous lessons, you'll hear me share from time to time in there. This is just a thumbnail. This is not a final one whatsoever yet. All these snowmans that I'm working on at the end of the month, they'll be colored in. I'm going to have them all lined up in one big, large family. That's something that you don't want to miss. But the purpose behind here is like a fast thumbnail sketch, and just freely going with your imagination. What do you see? So you may not be have any notes or looking at something, and that's better. And just do raw creativity, and that's what we do. That's what we're doing right now. The top of the little. There we go, underneath his neck. There, I get his little scarf. There's a little scarf overlapping there. And I'm not going to erase some of the lines too, because again, when I clean it up, I can worry about that later on that part, because this is just a little thumbnail, little sketch. And here we go. Again, like the buttons, what could they be? They could be cookies, they could be coal, they could be rocks, they could be buttons. Feel free to, they could be bottle caps, anything shape. It doesn't have to be a circle. They could be square. They could be an octagon, a hexagon, different shapes all together, triangle. And let's just get the little scarf there, little lines there. All right. That looks fun. I feel good about this little one right now. And he's in a snowman. Of course, it's cold out there. That's why he has the earmuffs. And of course, the scarf. What do you see in the background right now when you're sketching or just watching me? Do you see a big house? Do you see a mountain? Do you see a polar bear coming behind him? Maybe some penguins. Oops, I shouldn't be saying all that. I might be ruining some of my future lessons, or that's giving me some ideas for them. Something to think about. Some of those ideas I suggested to you, I might have to play up on future days now. So I'm just going to create some whimsical little pine trees in the background. And there we go. Just getting the left side, right side hanging down with the little snow coming down. Remember, don't do everything uniform for my style, should I say. In this case, I like to have inconsistency so it's more natural in that regards. All right, and just adding those little shady spots in there. That could be like where the tree is just popping through everything, all the rest of the tree where it's white could actually be all snow right now. There's like one, and now I got one further in the background. If you haven't seen some of my other lessons when I talk about backgrounds and understanding the midground, the background, and the foreground, those are some lessons that you should really check out because I dive into that pretty hard and I explain the purpose behind my mind so that you see that the distance between stuff. So like the trees in the foreground could be very, very tall and the background could be really, really small. That just gives you the distance at times. And then you could put like a big rock in the front. Again, that's all in relationship to even that one other lesson I shared, the purpose behind having a camera, understanding taking pictures. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's see. Now let's get a little bit more detail on this tree right here. Just about done with this little cartoon snowman. Stay tuned because I got the whole month to come back to, and I'm going to have 31 in total to share with everyone, and I'm excited about it, especially when they're colored in. There's a color of that in the little top there, shading more. All right, looking good. I like that. Yeah. Okay, maybe there. That's giving some little shadow, different tone. Is that's grass down there, like the snow is melting, or is it just a reflection on there? Not so sure, but just to give some pattern and texture. Same thing over here. Yep. Oh, you know what? Let's do it snowing. Yeah, I'm just going to make little puffy circles of all different sizes and shapes randomly all over the place. Yeah, he's caught in a little snow shower right now. And I'm not going to go too much on him occasionally. There's a few here and there on him. I'm not going to make too much because it'll look like he'll have freckles. All right. Little shadow underneath his belly there to show some more curvature. And maybe some of his hands, maybe he has some light gloves on there. I don't know. I'm just going to shade away on the top of the little earmuffs now too. Yeah, I'm liking that. So I think I'm just about done. So let's sign and date, share with your family and friends,